Hey everyone, I hope you're well. This is the story about what if Naruto was Tobirama's grandson and had ice release. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel and like the video as well. So without any further ado, let's start the what if. The gates of Konoha Chagakure. It was another dull day in the Hidden Leaf Village. Kotetsu Hagane and Izumo Kamizuki, also nicknamed the Eternal Guards, were sitting at their usual station, supposedly observing the comings and goings of all the villagers and travelers that wishes to enter the great hidden village. Well, at least one of them was. This is so boring. Kotetsu yelled out with tired sigh. Why are you complaining all of a sudden? We've been working this post for 5 years now. It's a great job, if you ask me. Izumo said with a smile, proud of his duty. Glad I didn't ask then. Kotetsu said with a tired sigh, as he rests his chin on the table in front of him. Izumo wanted to argue back, and remind Kotetsu that it was he himself who wanted to take on this job in the first place, after finally being promoted chunin. He claimed that he wanted to take a break first, before taking on the very intense chunin level missions, but that was 5 years ago. Izumo however didn't mind his position. He believes that being a gatekeeper of Konoha is already real honor, and an important duty that he takes with pride. Plus, he does enjoy the many perks of the job. It pays well, you get to sit all day, ogle beautiful women that passes by, and if he was honest with himself, he didn't mind the no stress and peaceful lifestyle. Oh, I know. Let's play a game. Kotetsu happily suggested. Izumo glared at Kotetsu with a deadpan look, slightly annoyed since they are still on duty. But he then sighs in defeat, and might as well humor his bored friend. Fine. If it gets you to stop complaining. Izumo agreed, but he had to admit to himself that he too was a little bored. Alright. Let's play Would You Rather. You go first. Kotetsu said with an excited tone. Okay, would you rather take the next Jonin exams, or fight one-on-one against Lord Jiraiya? Izumo asked. That's easy. Jiraiya, of course. All I have to do is transform into a hot naked woman and I'll win, Kotetsu said with a confident smirk, while Izumo rolled his eyes for his friend's hypothetical yet suicidal match against a Hokage-level shinobi. But then again, it wasn't really a bad plan. Alright, my turn. Would you rather have the Byakugan or the Sharingan? Sharingan, of course. Lame. Really? So you would rather have? Hell yeah, the Byakugan. Can you imagine the things we can do with eyes that can literally see through anything? Kotetsu said with a perverted grin and a small blush. I'm no pervert, you idiot. Alright, it's my turn now. Would you rather tell Lady Tsunade that she is old, or tell Tsume Inuzuka that you want to be her alpha? Izumo asked. Neither, I'm not suicidal. Kotetsu said. You have to pick one or the other. Those are the rules. Izumo reminded. Damn. Well, if I have to go out, might as die a legend. I can see my tombstone now, here lies the courageous young chunin, who reminded a legendary Sannin that she has passed her prime. Kotetsu said as he waved his hand dramatically. You're an idiot. Izumo said with a small chuckle. Hahaha, speaking of hot babes though, would you rather sleep with Kurenai or Ankh? Ahem. Kotetsu stopped his sentence midway, and turned his head slightly when he saw the group of shinobis in front of him. There were 6 genins, 2 outsiders with one of them carrying a large sword on his back, and 2 very annoyed-looking jonins. The 2 jonins were fuming and glaring daggers at the bandage-faced gatekeeper, who in turn became pale and sweat like crazy. Asuma-san, Kakashi-senpai, how long have you been standing there? Kotetsu asked fearfully. Long enough, Asuma said with a glare, causing Kotetsu to gulp nervously. Izumo wanted to burst out laughing, for his friend's untimely foolishness. Almost every Konoha chunin ranked and above knew of Kakashi's relationship with the snake mistress. And many have already suspected that Asuma and the Genjutsu mistress are dating. To witness Kotetsu mentioned the names of the two beautiful ladies in front of the two men before them, who are currently their paramours, and his hypothetical question, regarding a lewd scenario of said ladies, was freaking hilarious. But luckily, Izumo wanted to help ease the tension, and hopefully save his best friend from certain death. Welcome back, Asuma-san, Kakashi-senpai. It is great to have you back. Please don't mind, Kotetsu. He was just joking around. Right, Kotetsu? Izumo said. Alright. Of course. Kotetsu answered immediately. Well, no harm, no foul. Be glad Kurenai or Anko-chan didn't hear you say that, Kakashi said with semi-sadistic tone, when he mentioned his girlfriend's name. But it made Kotetsu nervous. You're not going to tell them, are you? Kotetsu asked nervously. Now Kotetsu, of course I'm going to tell Anko-chan. We tell each other everything, Kakashi said nonchalantly, with an eye smile. What? Wait, no. Please don't tell her, Kakashi-senpai. I promise it won't happen again. Please. I don't want to get bitten by her snakes. Kotetsu begged desperately with sad anime tears, as he dropped his head down on his table. But he didn't realize that the group had already left. Kotetsu, Izumo said, poking his friend on the side to get his attention. When Kotetsu lifted his head, he saw Kakashi, Asuma and their company had already walked off to the Hokage Tower, after registering their entry with Izumo. Ah, it was nice knowing you, my penis, Kotetsu said with sad anime tears, resting his chin on his table. But unbeknownst to him, one person from the large group was still standing before them. Oh, cheer up, Kotetsu-san. It's too early to be all doom and gloom, he heard a voice called out to him. He lifted his head, and saw a familiar whiskered-faced blonde boy. Naruto? Hey buddy, why are you still here? Kotetsu asked curiously. Well, you look a little down, so I wanted to see how you are doing. But seriously, talk about bad timing, right? Naruto said with a chuckle. I know. I mean, what are the odds? Ha 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 ha, Izumo added in, as he and THD Blonde ended up laughing together. Oh, ha ha. You guys are a freaking hilarious, Kotetsu said sarcastically with a pout. Oh, don't worry, Kotetsu-san. I'm sure Kakashi-san is just joking, I hope. Yeah, before I forget, I got you all some souvenirs from my missions. Naruto said with a bright smile. This genuinely surprised both the Eternal Guards. Really? You got souvenirs for us? Izumo asked, surprised by the blonde's kindness and consideration of them. Yeah, of course. I got souvenirs for everyone. But it's no big deal, Naruto said, as he pulled out a scroll, and unsealing its contents on their table. There were some delicious treats and shiny trinkets, that he got from both the Land of Tea and Land of Waves. Gee Naruto, thanks. Kotetsu said with a grateful smile. No problem guys. I actually had some cinnamon rolls before, but when Hinata found out, she tried to choke to me death until I surrendered all of them to her, Naruto said with a chuckle, as he rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Ha ha ha, well thanks anyway, Naruto. Izumo said with his own smile. They then heard someone calling out to the blonde. Naruto-kun. Come on. Everybody has already gone on ahead. Ino yelled out, from a fair distance. Coming, Ino-chan. See you guys later, Naruto said with a bright smile, as he waved goodbye to the Eternal Guards. Kotetsu and Izumo stared at the blonde's retreating figure, as he walked side by side with the blonde Yamanaka, holding hands and laughing, as they made their way to the Hokage Tower together. That kid sure is something. Kotetsu said with a smile. I know. Can you believe the stuff the villagers have been saying about him? Calling him the, Izumo asked. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit if you ask me. Naruto is not even close to an evil demon. If anything, that kid is a saint. I still remember the day we met the little guy. Kotetsu said. Yeah, he brought us some food and coffee, when we didn't have time to go for our lunch break. Izumo reminisced. Do you remember when we asked him why he would do that for us? Kotetsu asked. Haha, yeah, he told us that he appreciates our work of help keeping our village safe. So he wanted to thank us. I honestly thought it was a prank at first. Real glad it wasn't though, Izumo said with laugh. I know I said this job is boring and all, but it's people like him that makes it more worthwhile. I would gladly sit by this gate for the rest of my life, if it means protecting people like him. That kid spreads joy wherever he goes. Kotetsu said with a smile. How much you want to bet that he'll make Jonin before us? Izumo joked. Come on man, I like the kid, don't make me hate him. Kotetsu said with a depressed tone, but eventually laughed at the joke. Honestly, he would be proud if Naruto did get promoted before him. The blonde boy is on his way of becoming a great ninja after all, and he knows it. Hokage's office. Hiruzen was now sitting behind his desk, listening to the reports of both Kakashi and Asuma. Standing behind them are teams 10 and 7, Zabuza and Haku. Hiruzen was astounded to hear that his son and apprentice had a very eventful C-rank mission. First, encountering and eliminating the traitor, Aoi Rokusho, and exposing the land of T's minister of his corruption. Second, encountering 2 of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Defeating one and recruited the other, along with his partner. Well, I'm very pleased with your reports, Asuma and Kakashi. You should be proud of your students. You will receive your mission payment on the 2nd floor. Both your teams have the whole week off. Take this time to recover, and spend some quality with your loved ones. You all have earned it after all. Hiruzen said with a proud smile. Thank you, Hokage-sama, they all said in unison. Now, I would like only Naruto-kun, Asuma-kun, Zabuza-san and Haku-chan to remain. The rest of you are free to go home. Hiruzen ordered. Can Ino-chan stay as well, Sarutobi-sensei? Whatever you'll tell me, I'll just tell her later anyway. Naruto asked hopefully, causing the Yamenka to blush, for him wanting her to stay. Very well. The rest of you are dismissed, Hiruzen ordered, as Kakashi, Team 7 and Shikamaru waved their goodbyes and headed home. Now there was only Naruto, Ino, Asuma, Zabuza and Haku. First of all Naruto-kun, regarding your mission to the land of T, I was very impressed with your performance and leadership skills. While Asuma-kun was busy investigating the corrupt minister, you led your team and young Idate to the Todoroki shrine in one piece. Also, you managed to recover the village's lost treasure, and executing a known traitor, who stole said treasure. Hiruzen said with a smile. I only did what any other Konoha shinobi would do, sensei. Naruto said. And since the Reiji no Ken is a Senju treasure, I see no reason for you to hand over the sword. It is yours, by birthright. And as the last remaining Senju, it is yours to keep, until you wish to pass it down to your children. Hiruzen added on. See children? Ino thought with a heavy blush. And now, for the Land of Waves mission. I've already received word from Tazuna, that you are one of the major factors that ensured the success of the mission. You helped maintain his family's safety, and defeated Gato's entire army single-handedly. And thanks to your, and I quote, crazy-ass clone powers the bridge was able to be completed, way ahead of schedule. Hiruzen said, still couldn't help but feel great pride for his apprentice. Also he couldn't help but chuckle at Tazuna's quote. Haha, I'm sure Tazuna-san is just exaggerating. Naruto still couldn't help but be humble, as he rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Well, did you, or did you not, save both Tsunami-san and young Inari, from being kidnapped by Gato? Hiruzen asked. Yes, sensei, Naruto answered. Then I'm sure this report is accurate. And you would be pleased to know, that Tsunami-san is on her way of becoming the next wave daimyo. Hiruzen informed. She is? Naruto and Ino asked at the same time. Yes. Since the former daimyo had practically failed his country, he finally decided to step down from his position. Tsunami-san has the support of the people, and they elected her without a second thought. Hiruzen informed. Wow, that's great, I'm very happy for her. Naruto said with proud smile. As you should, my boy. She and the people of Wave are very grateful for your actions, and declared you the hero of Wave. Tazuna-san even decided to name the bridge after you. Also, Tsunami-san proposed to form a trade partnership with Konoha once her Posiden is finalized. Hiruzen informed with his proud smile. What? Really? Wow, that's very unexpected. I'm very honored. Naruto said with an embarrassed blush. Ino couldn't help but look at Naruto with even more love and admiration in her eyes, while Asuma was very proud of his student. Zabuza's respect for the blonde grew, while Haku was sharing the same look Ino was giving him. Hiruzen continues to stare at his blonde apprentice with a proud smile, until he finally decided to break the silence that has been filling the air. You truly amaze me, Naruto-kun. Hiruzen admitted. What do you mean, sensei? Naruto asked. What I mean, is that it took 2 C-rank missions, for you to establish strong partnerships with Konoha and 2 other countries. Hiruzen answered. Really? I did? Naruto asked, shocked by his indirect actions. Yes, we received a letter from Jirocho-san, on behalf of the T-daimyo, regarding their trade proposal with us. And your name was mentioned. Hiruzen informed. But, I hardly did anything, sensei. It was all Idate. He was the one who won the race. Once again, Naruto couldn't help but be humble for his heroics. Is that so? Then why did young Idate told Jirocho-san and the T-daimyo about how you inspired him? That he would have given up on the race, if it wasn't for you. That it was your words and actions that helped him to push forward. Hiruzen informed. Naruto was completely speechless. And now here we are, all of your teammates are safe and sound, both missions are a tremendous success, and you brought home 2 highly skilled shinobis with you. Hiruzen said. I don't know what to say, sensei. Naruto admitted. I do, I'm very proud of you, my boy. Hiruzen said with the proudest smile he could give. This alone was able to make Naruto let out a single tear of joy. He always wanted to make his Gigi proud. And now he finally has. Thanks, Gigi. Naruto said with some tearful eyes and a bright smile. Hiruzen smiled back, and then turns his attention to the former Kiri ninjas. Now as for you two. While I don't mind offering you sanctuary in Konoha, but protocol states that you both will have to be placed under 5 months of probation with TNI, and you will need to be evaluated on a weekly basis. Is this acceptable? Hiruzen addressed Zabuza and Haku. Yes, Hokage-sama, Zabuza said with a respectful bow. Thank you, Hokage-sama. But will it be acceptable if I join the village's medical corps? I've always had a passion for medicine, and I have extensive knowledge of human anatomy. I believe I can serve the village well, as a medical ninja, Haku respectfully requested. I suppose that is acceptable. Konoha's medical corps has been very lacking ever since Tsunade left the village. Currently no one here has the outstanding level of knowledge and skill in medical ninjutsu than her. So I will grant you this request, Haku-chan. I can only hope that you'll do as well as her. You are to report to the hospital once I prepare your assignments. Hiruzen said, as he handed Haku a Konoha headband. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Haku approached and accepted the headband, before stepping back. Zabuza-san, you will still maintain your rank of Jonin, but for your safety and the safety of the village, you will join the Anbu Black Ops. At least until your bounty from Kiri has been removed. Will you accept this, Zabuza-san? Hiruzen asked, as he placed a Konoha headband and a porcelain mask that looks like a shark face, on this table. Yes, Hokage-sama, I was an Anbu before in Kiri, so it's not really a big deal. Zabuza approached and took the headband and mask, before stepping back. Very good. You will receive the rest of your uniform in the Anbu headquarters. As for Haku-chan, given your skills and experience, I will grant you the rank of Special Chunin under the Medical Corporation. Now as for your housing arrangements, TNI have some facilities that you can. Hiruzen said, but was interrupted by Naruto. Actually sensei, if you don't mind, I think I already have a solution to that. Naruto said. And what solution is that, Naruto-kun? Hiruzen asked curiously. They can live with me, in my compound. Naruto suggested, that caused several eyes to widen. You have a compound, Gaki? Zabuza asked. Yes, the Senju compound. And maybe one day, the Senju Uzumakiyuki Sanctuary, but that's kind of a mouthful. Naruto said with a smile, but thanks that Statemaint, Asuma now knows the truth. Yuki? Asuma asked, with a raised eyebrow. Naruto realized that it is finally time, to tell his sensei the truth. Yes, Asuma-sensei. I'm sure you have already noticed my Hyoton powers, when I fought against Haku on the bridge. Naruto implied. Only an idiot would not notice the sudden and extremely cold temperature when you both fought. Also, those giant dragons made of ice, are not really invisible. And I have to say, I'm still surprised about that. Why didn't you tell me before, Naruto? Asuma asked, slightly hurt. I'm sorry, Asuma-sensei. I tried to, honestly. Twice actually, but something always interfered. Yeah, now I remember. Asuma recalled about the time before they left the village to the land of tea, and the time on the boat to the land of waves. Well, long story short, I'm a Yuki, on my father's side. And because of that, I have the Hyoton Kekkei Genkai. Naruto informed, but purposely let it slip about his father. Fath, wait, you knew about that too? Asuma asked, with wide eyes. Naruto wanted to explain, but Hiruzen beat him to it. Yes, Asuma-kun. I told him a long time ago. And before you say anything, it is still a S-rank secret, and I was waiting for Naruto-kun to tell you himself, when he was ready. And he clearly trusts you enough, which I'm glad. Hiruzen said. I guess that makes sense. Well, I'm glad you know, kiddo. I've always respected your father. And I assume, he already told you, Ino? Asuma turned his attention to his only female student. Teehee, of course, sensei, I'm his lady. But let's go back to the topic about the compound. Naruto-kun, you haven't been to that place for years now, ever since Lord Hokage brought you there. And I remember you used the word, spooky. Is it even livable? Ino asked. True, I haven't been there since it is practically a ghost town, but that doesn't mean I didn't take care of it. Ever since you taught me the shadow clone jutsu Jiji, I've been sending my clones to clean and fix it up. And last time I checked, it has plenty of room for Zabuza-san and Haku-chan. Naruto informed, but not realizing that Chan, he added to Yuki girl's name, which caused Haku to blush her cheeks, and Ino to pout in jealousy. Hiruzen wasn't really against the idea, since Haku is technically a member of Naruto's clan. But then he remembered another clan compound, that he showed the blonde. What about the Uzumaki clan's mask storage temple? You are part Uzumaki after all. Are you just going to leave it be? Hiruzen asked. The temple was practically a ruin when we got there. I was considering fixing it too, but I can't always be in two compounds at the same time. I mean I could, but why waste the energy? Plus, the temple is located on the outskirts of Konoha. So I chose the Senju compound as my main clan home, and had all the masks, scrolls and any valuable treasures from the temple, moved there. For safekeeping. Naruto informed. Aren't you worried, that some lowlife might steal them? Asuma asked. Nope. The compound is protected by powerful security seals. Only a Senju can gain entrance without dying horribly, and as the head of the clan, I am able to allow whomever I choose to enter. Such as Ino-chan and Sarutobi-sensei for example. And since I'm a Yuki as well, I would gladly offer Haku-chan a place in my home, and Zabuza-san as well. Naruto informed. Hiruzen however was still skeptical about this. I don't know Naruto-kun, the civilian council might fight you tooth and nail for this, since most of them are still denying that you are a Senju. And since the evidence of your lineage are highly sensitive, it will expose the identity of both your father and grandfather. And if they find out about yours and Haku's Hyoton Kekkei Genkai, they might push you too, for the CRA. Hiruzen informed with a grim tone. Over my dead body. No offense, Haku. Ino yelled out, but said the last part gently to the Yuki girl. None taken. But what is the CRA? Haku asked curiously. It's called the Clan Restoration Act. It's this totally creepy thing, where people with bloodline limits are forced to take on multiple spouses to reproduce their bloodline power for the sake of the village. At first it was created to help restore nearly extinct clans during times of war, but now, people like the civilian council and the village elders would rather use it to fill their greed. The idea of young women being used against their will as breeding stocks disgust me. Ino informed, with anger and frustration in her voice. But her anger immediately died down when she felt Naruto's hand holding hers. So in other words, the Gaki will have a harem? Don't get any funny ideas with my little girl, Naruto. Zabuza said with a mild killing intent, as he stands protectively in front of his surrogate daughter. Tusen. Haku said embarrassingly with a heavy blush. While the idea of the CRA disgusted her, deep down she didn't mind being a wife of Naruto. She knows that he would make a good husband, and he'll treat her with kindness and respect. She then realizes her sudden romantic thoughts, and it made her blush even more, so she tried to shake those thoughts away. She then heard Naruto spoke up. For now, only the people in this room, and Shikamaru knows about my Hyoton. Team 7 already knows about Haku-chan's, but I convinced them to keep it a secret. For the rest of the world, they will only know Haku-chan as Zabuza's adopted daughter. Also, a badass kunoichi. Naruto complimented Haku with a wink at the end, that made the Yuki girl felt weak in the knees. Ino pouted even more because of that, and clings on to Naruto's arm in a territorial manner. Hiruzen then finally spoke up. I see. But if and when the council finds out, I advise you to prepare, Naruto-kun. You may be a clan head, but you need to make formal case of your refusal, when the time comes. And since Haku will be under your care, you'll need to fight for her as well. Hiruzen informed. I understand, Sarutobi-sensei. Naruto said with a respectful bow. Sigh, you are going to give me so much paperwork, you know that? Hiruzen said with a tired sigh to the blonde boy. But Naruto simply smirks at this. Tell you what, Sarutobi-sensei. If you allow them to live in my compound, as my newest clansman, and only allowing Inoichi-san or Ankonichan to evaluate them, I'll tell you a secret. Naruto said smugly, with the smirk never leaving his face. This immediately caught Hiruzen's attention. And what secret is that? Hiruzen asked curiously. Naruto then tapped into his inner Anko. Ready to be as overdramatic as her. The secret that you have been longing for. The secret that you, and all Kages, past and present, wishes to know, but never realized. The secret of defeating paperwork. Naruto whispered at the end, but it was deafening cry to the old Hokage's ears. In a burst of pure speed, Hiruzen appeared in front of Naruto, placing both his hands firmly on the boy's shoulders, giving his blonde apprentice a very, very, very intense death glare. Tell me the secret. Will grant my request? Yes. Will you treat me to ramen forever? Yes. Will you let me use your office to make out with Ino-chan when you're not around? Yes. Just tell me. Ino knew that Naruto was joking, but her face was turning bright red the more she thinks about it. Naruto then motioned Hiruzen to come closer, so he can whisper into his ear, which the old Hokage eagerly did. Shadow clones, Naruto whispered with a smirk. Hiruzen's eyes widened. The room was dead silent. Hiruzen then slowly made his way to his desk, sitting on his chair like a statue, while staring into space with his still widened eyes. He then took out a stack of paper, and placed them in front of him. And what he did next shocked everyone in the room. He banged his head over and over. Stupid. 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 Hiruzen yelled out with pure rage for his own stupidity. Everyone in the room were staring at the scene with pure horror and amusement at their so-called leader. Is this really your Hokage? And the so-called second god of shinobi? Zabuza asked with a raised eyebrow. He's also known as the Professor. It's kind of ironic when you think about it. Ino added in. No, Ino-chan, what's ironic is that he was the one who taught me that jutsu. Naruto said, but it was loud enough for Hiruzen here, and it made the old Hokage bang his head harder, until his desk was cracked. Welcome to Konoha, Asuma said to both Zabuza and Haku. With Kakashi. Kakashi was now approaching his apartment door, finally able to catch some RNR after a long week of travel. Sigh, such a long day, I can't wait to just relax and… Kakashi said tiredly, but when he opened his apartment door, his eyes widened and his jaw dropped, at the heavenly sight before him. Welcome home, Kashi-kun. I miss you. Anko said with a sexy tone, as she was laying on the couch seductively, wearing only a short see-through black nightie, a black bra that can hardly contain her voluptuous breast, and panties that highlighted her curvy hips. Kakashi can feel his pants getting tighter and his mouth drooling behind his mask. Every part of his being was yelling at him, to fuck the snake mistress into oblivion, but luckily his heart won over. Instead of lust, he felt pure love. Love, that he has someone like her to come home to. Love, that no matter what that they will always be there for each other. Love, the idea of loving her. Not as much as I miss you. Kakashi said as he locks the apartment door, and stares at his live-in girlfriend with nothing but love in his eye. Anko was surprised at this. She honestly thought Kakashi would take her then and there. She couldn't help but blush at the way he was looking at her. It wasn't like all the looks that other men would give her. Like she was nothing more than an object, as their eyes hold nothing but animalistic lust for her body. Instead, she felt warm and nervous at the same time, but in a good way. She felt loved, probably for the first time in her life. She then stood up and slowly walked towards him. As one hand grasped his broad shoulder, while the other rubbed his cheek. Then come here then, show your Anko-chan how much you miss her. Anko said, as she pulled down his mask, revealing his handsome face. Kakashi couldn't hold back anymore, as he pushes his lips against hers, channeling all of his pent-up passion and lust into the hot kiss. Their tongues intertwining as Kakashi's hands slowly roam around her shapely body, earning a hard moan from the snake mistress. She placed her hand on the back of his head and grabbed his silver hair, to push their faces closer to each other, not wanting to leave any space between them whatsoever. They then slowly pulled apart, as they stare into each other's eyes, with bright smiles on their faces. How's your mission? Anko asked, slightly out of breath. It was surprisingly eventful. Some shock and awe moments, blood was spilled, death was everywhere, and… Kakashi trailed off as he was staring at her chest. Are you staring at my breast, Kashi-kun? Anko asked with a seductive tone and smirk. In my defense, they were staring at me, Kakashi joked. Teehee, I guess they just miss your hands, and your lips, Anko whispered into his ear, as she lightly bit his earlobe, causing the silver-haired jonin to shiver down his spine. Then let's not keep them waiting, Kakashi said, as he swooped her off her feet, catching her lips once more, as she wraps her shapely legs tightly around his waist. He then led her to their bedroom, and laid her roughly on the bed, but not once leaving her tasty lips. The two lovers continue to explore each other's mouths, as they intensify their battle of their tongues. His hands continued to roam her body, squeezing certain parts that caused her to moan more and more. Kakashi then suddenly stopped their passionate kiss and pulled away, causing Anko to pout and whimper like a child. Their faces were still inches apart, as they could feel the warmness of their breath, and their eyes firmly locked on the other. And what he said next made all the difference. "I love you, Anko-chan." Anko honestly wanted to cry after hearing this. She can only respond with the only thing she can. "I love you too, Kashi-kun." They smiled at each other, before resuming their very heated lovemaking, knowing that this moment was one of their happiest moments of their lives. With Shikamaru. Shikamaru had finally arrived to his clan's compound and entered him home. "Mom! Dad! I'm home!" Shikamaru yelled out. He then heard the sound of footsteps, and he was then greeted by his lovely mother, Yoshino Nara. Yoshino has long, dark brown hair that is kept in a low ponytail with 3 strands framing her face. Shikamaru has the same dark pair of eyes as her. "Shikamaru-chan. I'm so glad you're home." Yoshino engulfed her son in a very tight hug, which he responded in kind, but was running of air. "Mom. Can't. Breath," Shikamaru said, as his face was turning blue. "Oh. Sorry, hee. So, how's your mission?" she asked eagerly. "Troublesome." "And?" "Troublesome." Sigh, Naras, come on, it was your first mission outside the village, tell me everything, and don't leave out any details. Yoshino said happily, with a big smile. "Do I have to?" Shikamaru asked lazily. Hearing this, her smile immediately faded, and was now replaced with a deadly glare. "Shikamaru Nara. You better tell me about your mission, Oregon, so help me, you won't get any dinner tonight, and I'll introduce your head to my frying pan jutsu." Yoshino threatened. "Gulp, fine. But can we please have lunch first, I'm starving." Shikamaru conceded with a tired sigh. Her smile immediately returned after he said that. Some mothers would ask kindly, and some mothers would be pushy, but some mothers would threaten to beat their son with a frying pan. She wasn't proud, but that was the only way she knows how to deal with Anara's infamous laziness. "Fine. But like I said, don't leave out any details. I want to hear everything. Also, your father should be home soon, so in the meantime, you're going to help me cook lunch." Yoshino said happily, as she led Shikamaru to the kitchen. Sigh, women. With Sasuke. After Sasuke walked Hinata home to the Hyuga compound, which he was then greeted by many deadly glares by some of the Hyuga guards, the lone Uchiha was now on his way back to his apartment. But he could sense that someone was following him in the shadows. "I know you're there. Come out," Sasuke called out. And surprisingly, someone did appear, as they jumped right in front of him. It was a female Anbu, with long brown hair, with bags framing her face. Her Anbu porcelain mask was the face of a ferret. She seemed to be in her late teens, approximately around 17 to 18. She was wearing a standard Anbu uniform, with a sword on her back. "Haha, I see your senses have improved, Gaki. I'm impressed." The Anbu girl praised the Uchiha, but with a mocking tone. "What would you like to know?" Sasuke said in annoyance, apparently he is familiar with the Anbu girl. But she simply smirked behind her mask. "Oh my, it seems we have a little, tough guy, in our midst, I'm practically shaking in my sandals." The Anbu mocked further, causing the Uchiha to narrow his eyes. It was a moment of silence, until they both said the first thing that came into their heads. "Bitch. Duckass." It was another moment of silence, until laughter was heard. Their laughter. Sasuke couldn't help but smile, as he and the female Anbu approached one another, and shared a small hug. She was hugging him tightly, while he simply pats her back. "How are you, Sasuke-chan?" she asked. "I'm alright, Ferret Nichan. Just had a very long interesting mission." Sasuke answered with a tired sigh. Oh, does it involve that pretty little Hyuga of yours? The now-named ferret teased the Uchiha, causing him to blush and stutter. Shut up. Ha ha ha, come on, let me walk you home. You can tell me all about it on the way. Ferret said, as she led the Uchiha to his apartment. Fine, but, when you have time, can you help train me? Sasuke asked hesitantly, causing them both stop their steps, as she looked at him with a concerned look in her eyes. Sure, but why? You never asked me to train you before. Also, I thought Kakashi-senpai was your sensei. Don't tell me that lazy ass is slaking off again. Ferret asked with a tick mark on her head. No, I mean, yeah, he is lazy sometimes, but he's a good sensei. He watches over us and protected us. Sasuke defended his sensei. So, what's the problem? Ferret asked curiously. Sigh, let's just say, I got a new power, but I don't know how to control it yet. At least not properly. So, right now I just want to improve what I already have, and make it better. And, I know you can help me with it. Sasuke asked with hope in his voice. I see, was all Ferret could say, but Sasuke could tell, that she didn't believe that was his only reason. Sasuke sighed and looked down on his feet, unable to meet her eyes. Something happened during the mission. Hinata, she got hurt because of me. I was helpless. I just want to make sure that my weaknesses won't cause me to lose anyone I care about again. Sasuke said, looking down in sadness, until he felt her hand on his shoulder. I know how you feel. And of course I'll help you. I promised that I'll look after you, didn't I? Ferret said with a smile behind her mask. Thank you, Ferret-nichan. Sasuke said with a grateful smile. No problem, Sasuke-chan. Ferret says, as she continues to lead the Uchiha back to his home. It has been 2 months now, since Naruto had welcomed Haku and Zabuza into the Senju compound, or what he rather calls it, the sanctuary, as he plans to find and bring back any remaining Yuki, Uzumaki or Senju left, since he is part of all 3 nearly extinct clans. So far, Naruto had only found one Yuki, and she and her giant sword-wielding father had managed to settle into their new home, and already becoming part of the blonde Senju's little family. He knows that his cousin Tsunade is still out there in the world, and he can only hope that he can bring her back home one day. He plans to begin his search when he is finally promoted to Chunin. But who knows how long that will take. Haku has been working at the hospital a week after she and Zabuza had arrived in Konoha. She may not know any medical ninjutsu, but she was already becoming one of the best medics in the medical corporation. Haku hopes that if Naruto manages to bring Tsunade back, she could be given the opportunity to learn from the greatest medical ninja in the world, not to mention, a legendary idol to all kunoichis. Ino even managed to form a strong friendship with the Yuki girl, despite knowing her little crush with Naruto. Ino was obviously annoyed at first, but she honestly couldn't blame Haku. I mean, what girl wouldn't fall for Naruto Senju? But the Yamanaka girl, of course, wanted to make sure that Haku won't be another Sakura. So she and the Yuki girl had a long pleasant talk about how much Naruto meant to her, and what she would do to fight for him, if need be. Instead of expecting another declaration of war over a boy again, Haku understood what Ino was trying to tell her, and respected her relationship with Naruto. Haku could clearly see that Naruto's heart already belongs to Ino, so all she could do now, as a friend, is be happy for them. Ino felt both relieved and happy that Haku is more mature than Sakura. But the more she thinks about her pink-haired best friend, the more she misses her. Last time Ino saw her, she was completely devastated after learning that she and Naruto are together. Ino can only hope that Sakura would get over her crush and move on, so hopefully they can be friends again. Ino would even ask Haku if she would train with her. If she can be as skilled as the Yuki girl, she would no doubt kick lots of ass. She wanted to improve her speed and reaction time, but more importantly her skills in close-quarter combat. Haku even helped Ino train with senbons, and how to effectively throw them with speed and precision. Ino even asked Asuma to help teach her some new katan jutsus. So far she only knew the Phoenix Flower and Running Fire. Asuma knew that Ino's chakra reserves is fairly large for a genin, and her chakra control was now near perfect. She really wanted to learn his Burning Ash Jutsu, but he decided that she wasn't ready for such a dangerous Tekuhik yet. It was considered a B-rank jutsu for a reason, since it could potentially damage the user as well. So for now, he only taught her 2 new Katan jutsus. 1. Flame Bullet /C-rank /offensive equals this Tekuhik is executed by the user gathering oil in their mouth, which is created by chakra, spitting it out, and igniting it. This Tekuhik simply shoots a flame bullet at the enemy. If the amount of oil that is prepared is kept down, the time it takes to invoke the Tekuhik is reduced. This allows the enemy to be stricken unaware, allowing the oil-containing flame bullet to burn them up completely. It is also possible to shoot out a series of flame bullets by partitioning the oil, or a continuous flamethrower. 2. Demon Lantern /C-rank /offensive equals this Tekuhik releases many floating fireballs around the user, which take the shape of ghosts at the final stage of the Tekuhik. After performing the required hand seal, they attack the opponent in swarms. Each fireball creates a huge flame at the moment of impact. As for Zabuza, after being sworn into the Anbu Black Ops, and was given the codename Shark, he was assigned as one of Hiruzen's elite bodyguards, along with Yugao, Cat, Tenzo and Ferret. He and Ferret were often paired together as partners, since Hiruzen thought they could have a similar dynamic like Zabuza had with Haku. Unfortunately, despite Ferret being a few years older than the Yuki girl, her personality was the complete opposite of hers. She is more energetic and upbeat, compared to Haku's stoic calm and coolness, pun not intended. Zabuza was obviously annoyed by Ferret's personality at first, but he eventually grew to respect her strength and capabilities. She is a highly skilled kunoichi, and a member of the Hokage's elite bodyguards for a reason. So in a way, he was glad that his partner wasn't a weakling. The swordsman was still trying his best to be a good father to Haku, since he felt like he wasn't doing a good job. But the Yuki girl ensured him that she already likes the warmer relationship they have now. She simply advised him to just be himself, since that was the man who she saw as her father for many years. Naruto would later ask Zabuza if he could help train him in Kenjutsu, and maybe teach some new Suiton jutsus, since there are not many Suiton users in Konoha. Zabuza of course accepted, since he remembered that he is still honor-bound to help Naruto. At least that is what he told himself, in order to justify his eagerness. Like all his teachers before him, Zabuza saw great potential in Naruto. The blonde Senju was only 13 turning 14 years old, and yet he had proven time after time that he is literally a force to be reckoned with. Since Naruto already mastered the Water Dragon Jutsu, Zabuza decided to teach him 3 of his signature jutsus. 1. Giant Vortex Jutsu /A-rank /offensive equals a large volume of water is directed from a PR existing source or expelled high into the air from the mouth. To manipulate so much water at once requires a great deal of chakra. Once high enough, it cascades down onto the targeted area, resembling a giant waterfall. The force of this waterfall is great enough to hollow out the ground, washing away everything in the area. In the aftermath, whatever remains will appear devastated, as though some sort of natural disaster has just occurred. 2. Water Prison Jutsu /C-rank /supplementary equals this Tekuhik traps a target in a sphere of water. The water can either be drawn from the surroundings or expelled from the user's mouth. The water that the sphere is made from is noticeably heavy, which restricts the target's movements and can make breathing difficult. As such, those trapped within the water prison cannot ordinarily escape on their own. In order to maintain the prison, users must stay in contact with the sphere, typically by keeping an arm submerged within it. 3. Hidden Mist Jutsu /D-rank /supplementary equals this Tekuhik is a specialty of Kirigakure ninjas. Users fill the air with mist and control its thickness with their chakra. Once the mists are thick enough that opponents cannot see, that in turn means they cannot manage much defense against the user. Zabuza was trained to locate his targets within the mist based only on the sounds they made. But as for Naruto, he could always use his sensory ability. Zabuza even taught Naruto his signature fighting style, the silent kill Tekuhik. As the name suggests, this tekuhike is simply a soundless method of killing an opponent, usually from behind with a blade. Additionally, because the user moves silently, the attack cannot be anticipated and defended against. The user will often slit their opponent's throat, preventing any cry that might give them away. Some shinobi would often use a cover, such as mist or even frost, to rob their opponents of their field of vision and then attack them. As for his hyotan, Naruto had shared his grandmother's and his father's ice jutsu scrolls with Haku, since they are literally the only ones left in the world who can perform them. Haku never knew most of the jutsus she saw, and was amazed when she realized that she had only scratched the surface of her bloodline powers. Unfortunately, most of the highly powerful jutsus require tremendous amount of chakra, but luckily there were several stealth-level jutsus that she can learn instead. Hidden attacks are more her style, after all. Despite feeling it was too troublesome, Shikamaru didn't want to get left behind by his blonde teammates. He somehow managed to find his drive to train as much as he possibly could. So during Team 10's group exercises, Shikamaru would focus on building his stamina and chakra reserves. He wanted to get it up to at least low chunin level, in order to use his Doton jutsus without feeling exhausted after using one. But in the lazy Nara's defense, elemental jutsus are considered advanced level ninjutsu, and is supposed to be for chunin level shinobi and above. It requires intensive training and tremendous amount of chakra, since they are literally transforming their chakra into their elements. But after finally completing his earth chakra exercises, by turning a small rock into dust, he can now learn new Doton jutsus. There were not many Doton users in Konoha, aside from Hiruzen, Kakashi and Tenzo, but luckily Naruto was more than willing to help his lazy best friend. He allowed Shikamaru entry into his compound, so he can access the famed Senju library, that houses over 1,000 scrolls and books, regarding ninjutsus, taijutsu styles, and many more. Many would kill, just to learn the secrets in that library. Tobirama Senju was famously known for having the Kekkei Genkai known as Mokutan, an extremely rare and powerful bloodline. Even more powerful than the Hyotan. It was a combination of water and earth chakra affinity. And as such, the library was bound to have many Doton jutsus. So far, Shikamaru only knew the mud wall, and realized he wanted to learn more supplementary and offensive techniques. Shikamaru's chakra reserves are still not as high as he wanted it to be, so he can only learn 2 new jutsus. 1. Stone Fist Jutsu /C rank /offensive equals by encasing their arm in rock. The user can deal a powerful hardened punch against an opponent while being protected from direct contact with their target. If necessary, the weight of the rock can be increased to further increase the punch's destructive power. 2. Mobile Core /C rank /offensive, defensive, supplementary equals this tekuhike grants the user the ability to lower or raise the ground in the surrounding area, allowing them to create giant holes or elevations in the ground. The size of the affected area as well as the depths that it is lowered or raised to is also up to the user. With precise timing, this tekuhike can be used to evade incoming attacks, as well as to endanger opponents by moving them into the path of an oncoming attack, reducing their reaction time as well as knocking them off balance, making it even harder to avoid the attack. Training Ground 10. Team 10 was now doing their weekly exercises with Asuma. Ever since the Sarutobi saw what his Genin team were capable of, he decided to intensify their training a little. While Asuma trained Ino with her new Katan jutsus, he instructed Naruto and Shikamaru to run several laps around the training ground. He wanted Shikamaru to improve his stamina, and he wanted Naruto to help him in any way he can. While the blonde Senju was running circles around the lazy Nara, Shikamaru was panting like crazy. And he was slightly annoyed when Naruto keeps lapping him. As they run, Naruto would often say, "On your left," Naruto smugly said, when he passed by Shikamaru. "Yeah, on my left." "Got it," Shikamaru replied lazily, while rolling his eyes. After a while, Naruto eventually lapped Shikamaru again, and again, and again, and again. Shikamaru was starting to feel frustrated, probably for the first time in his life. He never once cared about his training, due to his laziness. But Naruto is making it look so easy. Too easy. And it was pissing him off. When Naruto was about to pass by him again, Shikamaru started to sprint a little faster, trying to get ahead for once, but it was all in vain. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say. On your left. Come on. Shikamaru yelled out, as he tried to chase the blonde, but he eventually had to stop, as he could feel his legs were about to give, and his lungs were about to explode. The Nara then went to sit down against a tree, as he was clenching his chest, panting like he had forgotten to breath. He then heard Naruto approaching him, barely winded and hardly sweating. Need a medic? Naruto asked with a smirk. I need a new set of lungs. How do you do it, Naruto? You just ran 6 laps and you barely look exhausted. Shikamaru asked, as he continued to pant. I don't know, how do you sleep so easily after just a minute? Naruto answered his question with his own question. That's for me to know, and for you to find out. Shikamaru said with a smirk. Damn, I really want to know. Naruto thought as he win. Naruto then went to sit down next to Shikamaru, as they watched Ino train with Asuma. They rested in silence for several minutes, until Shikamaru wanted to ask his blonde best friend a long-awaited question. So, what can you tell me about your ice power? Shikamaru asked out the blue. It's called Hyoton, Shika, or ice style. Naruto corrected. Whatever, so is it some sort of Kekkei? Shikamaru asked. Yes, it's a shinobi clan bloodline limit. Like the Uchiha clan with their Sharingan, the Hyuga clan with the Byakugan, and the Kurama clan with their powerful genjutsu, Naruto answered. But I never heard of a Senju with Hyoton before. Shikamaru stated. That's because the Hyoton doesn't come from the Senju. It comes from the Yuki. Naruto said. Shikamaru remained silent, as he wanted Naruto to explain further. My grandmother is a Yuki. And the Yuki clan were considered as one of strongest clans in the land of water. They are sort of like the Senju of Kirigakure. During the First Great Shinobi World War, my grandmother met and fell in love with my grandfather. She eventually migrated to Konoha to be with him. But he died before she could see him again. She was pregnant with my dad at the time. Naruto explained. I see, if you don't mind me asking, how do you know all of this? 'Cause you are practically the first and only Senju I ever met. And before Zabuza and Haku came to live with you at the compound, you lived all alone in that shinobi apartment. Shikamaru asked. Sarutobi-sensei told me. He was close with my grandfather. He told me all about my family and where I come from. We discovered my Hyoton when we were testing my chakra affinity. I had both water and wind, which is the combined nature transformation of the ice style. Naruto stated. I see, Shikamaru simply said. The Nara was truly amazed with Naruto's family history. He was never the type to take interest in other people's business, since it's too troublesome, but the blonde Senju has always been a mystery to him. He can be a ruthless ninja one day, and a kind-hearted guy the next. But then Shikamaru remembered a small detail he had learned about the blonde. He had been keeping it to himself for a long time, but since Naruto was being honest with him, he realized he should return the favor. Naruto? Yeah. I know about the Nine Tails. Shikamaru finally confessed. It was a moment of intense silence between the two. Naruto's eyes were widened as he looked at his Nara friend. This was the moment that he feared the most. Not many people his age knew about his burden. But now that Shikamaru knew, Naruto honestly didn't know what to say. He would have told Shikamaru eventually, but apparently the Nara knew all along. I see, does that mean you hate me too? Naruto asked hesitantly. But Shikamaru's response gave him a sense of relief. It's troublesome to hate you, Naruto. Besides, I know you're not really the Nine Tails. You're too kind and too annoying to be that giant fox. Shikamaru said with a soft smile. Haha, so when did you find out? Naruto asked curiously. I've known since we were kids. You're one of my best friends, Naruto. Do you really think I wouldn't have noticed the way the adults look at you, when you, me, and Ino were walking down the village? Shikamaru stated. I guess not. But that still doesn't explain how you found out. Naruto said. People whisper, and I listen. Plus, I was snooping around until my dad caught me. When I asked him about you, he said he couldn't say anything due to a law created by Lord Third. That was when I got even more curious. It took me a while, but I managed to piece it all together. And I came to the conclusion that you are somehow connected to the Nine Tails. Shikamaru stated. I didn't realize you're quite a detective, Shikamaru. And more importantly, I'm surprised you actually invested a lot of your time into this. I figure you would think it was too troublesome. Naruto said with a smirk. It was troublesome. But when it comes to my friends, my curiosity always got the best of me. Shikamaru said honestly. Ha ha ha, you truly are an enigma, Shikamaru Nara. Naruto said with awe, for his friend. I'm not the one clouded in mystery, Naruto, Shikamaru said with a lazy smile. Naruto was glad to have Shikamaru as a friend. He may be incredibly lazy, but he is a very understanding guy, who doesn't just jump to conclusions. Naruto then realized that he can trust the pineapple-haired Nara with the whole truth. He never really liked keeping secrets, especially from the people he cared about. Well, in full disclosure, Shika, I am a Jinchuriki. It means human sacrifice. When I was a baby, I was chosen to be the Nine-Tails keeper. To protect the village from him, and at the same time maintain the power status of Konoha, since the Nine-Tails is considered to be the village's ultimate weapon. Naruto stated. But that doesn't make any sense. If that is true, why does the villagers hate you? Shikamaru asked, feeling that Naruto should have been treated like a hero or something. Naruto never liked that particular question. He probably asked himself that 1,000 times already. He especially never liked answering it. Ignorance and fear can bring out the worst in people. Not everyone could grasp the complexity of Fuinjutsu. After the Nine Tails was sealed within me, rumors started to spread. Instead of seeing me as the Nine Tails keeper, they see me as the Nine Tails himself. Naruto said sadly. So everything you said to Inari that night, it was all true? Shikamaru remembered that very intense night during their mission at the Land of Waves. Naruto couldn't help but let a single tear fell at this. I wasn't even human in their eyes, I was nothing more than a scapegoat for them to take out all of their hate and anger on. Even when I was a child, they would beat me. Even when I was hungry, they would starve me. And sometimes on my birthday, the villagers would get together and chase me down for sport. These people call me a demon, Shika, but what kind of person does that to a child? Naruto asked sadly. Now even Shikamaru couldn't help but let a single tear fell, after hearing all of that. Naruto is his best friend. How could the villagers do that to him? He didn't deserve any of that. I'm so sorry, Naruto. Shikamaru said sadly. Ha ha ha, it's not your fault, Shika. Besides, everything that has happened to me had made me who I am today. And I am proud to be the person that I have become, Naruto said with a weak smile. Naruto, you are the strongest person I know. Not only that, but you are a very good guy. You help people wherever you go, and you make them feel better. If you ask me, this village doesn't deserve you. Shikamaru said coldly. Maybe not. But I will not let the actions of few determine my judgment. There are still good people in this village. People like my friends, and the family that I grew to care. Sarutobi Sensei is practically my grandfather, while Kakashi-Nisan and Anko-Nichan are my older siblings. Asuma Sensei is like my cool uncle, Old Man Tucci, and Ayam-chan are my ramen-loving family. You and Sasuke are the closing thing I have to brothers. Hinata is my adorable cinnamon monster, while Ino-chan, she's just my whole world. Naruto said with a bright smile. Naruto. Shikamaru said with admiration in his voice. I would give my life, protect you all. Because like Sarutobi-sensei once told me, Konoha is not a place, it's a people. It always was. And it's the people that I love and care about, that makes this place my home. Naruto said with his smile never leaving his face. Shikamaru honestly didn't know what to say. How could Naruto be so good, despite every bad thing that has happened to him? He honestly won't blame him, if he decided to destroy Konoha one day. But knowing what kind of person Naruto is, that possibility was very slim. I'll always have your back, Naruto. I want you to know that. Shikamaru said to his blonde best friend. Thanks, Shika. But I hope you won't come to regret it later. 'Cause there's always going to be a target on my back. And if I decide to do something a little dramatic, there's going to be a bigger one, Naruto stated with a smirk. Sigh, I'm regretting it already, Shikamaru said with a tired sigh. The Senju and Nara both shared a small laugh after that. Naruto felt like a weight has been lifted off his shoulders. His circle of trust just got a lot bigger thanks to the Nara, and it felt good. Shikamaru will always be his most loyal friend. Ino and Asuma later joined them after her training was finally done for the day. Ino's face is completely covered in ash, due to the many katan jutsus she had practiced with the Sarutobi. She then dropped down on the grassy floor, and lay her head on Naruto's lap. Whiskers. Ino, tired. Need kisses. Ino could feel Naruto chuckle at how childish she sounded. How about later, Ino-chan? I don't want to get ash all over my face. Naruto said, while brushing her platinum blonde hair. Please whiskers. Ino needs kisses. Ino said with her biggest, puppy dog eyes. Despite her face covered in ash, she is still cute as hell. And it was very hard to resist. Oh fine. You're such a baby. Naruto said with a laugh, as he leans his head down, and kissed her lips. After he pulled away, his lip area was now covered in ash. But you're my baby, Naruto declared, as he took out a piece of cloth from his back pouch, and began to clean her ash-covered face. She looked at him with a soft smile, and giggled at how sweet her boyfriend was. Teehee. You guys make me want to barf, Shikamaru said, slightly grossed out at how lovey-dovey his two teammates can be, despite him being around. Oh come on Shika. When you find your own blonde, you'll understand. Naruto said with smirk. What makes you think the girl I want to be with is blonde? The only blondes I know are you two, and you're both troublesome. Shikamaru said as a matter of fact. Because you're a blonde magnet, Shika. Out of all people, you happen to be on the same team with the only two blondes in our class. What does that say? Naruto stated smugly. I bet his future wife is going to be a blonde. Ino said with a smirk. Doubtful. Shikamaru denied. Alright guys, I need to talk to you all about something serious. Asuma said with his no bullshit tone, that immediately caught the three genins' attention. What is it, Asuma-sensei? Naruto asked. Earlier today, all the Jonin senseis, including myself, were summoned to the Hokage Tower, to discuss about the upcoming Chunin exams. And I nominated all three of you, to participate. Asuma said with a smirk. This immediately surprised the three genins. Are they truly ready to be Chunin? Chunin exams? We've only been a team for 5.5 months, and you're already tired of us, Asuma-sensei? Ino asked with sad anime tears. She didn't like the idea of the team being separated. No. Nothing like that, Ino. We are still Team 10, even if you are all Chunins. It just means that I won't be your sensei anymore. So during our missions, you'll be my teammates, instead of subordinates. And on the plus side, no more D-rank missions. Asuma said with a smile at the end, trying to explain that it won't change that much. But there is a chance we could get separated, Asuma-sensei. Chunins tend to lead their own teams, and go on missions with different teams. Naruto stated. I am aware. But it won't be always. We are still a team. All 4 of us. And the majority of the missions we'll take it together. I promise. Asuma ensured. All Shikamaru could do was raise an eyebrow at this discussion. We speak like becoming Chunins is a guarantee. I heard those exams can be brutal. Plus, we're still considered rookies, since we haven't been a team for a year. Shikamaru stated with a lazy sigh. I know, Shikamaru. But as your sensei, I am very confident in your abilities. Each of you showed great promise, and I know you'll succeed. Asuma said with a confident tone that his Genin team will no doubt pass the exam. Naruto, Ino and Shikamaru were very happy that their sensei believes in them. It was a good confidence booster, despite still being a rookie. But then they remembered a certain habit about their sensei, which made all of them raise an eyebrow at him. You bet on us, did you? Ino asked with a monotone voice. All Asuma did was smirk at this accusation. Hell yeah, I did. And you guys are going to make me rich. Asuma said with a laugh. Such a role model. All 3 Genins thought sarcastically. Asuma then reached into his back pouch, and took out 3 pieces of paper. He then handed them each to his Genins. Alright, here are your application forms. That being said, the nomination is not compulsory. If you guys feel that you are not ready, then you are free to decide whether to take the exam or not. But if you do sign those forms, come to room 301 at the academy by 3 p.m., 5 days from now. Asuma instructed. You got it, sensei. All 3 said in unison. You're all dismissed. No training for the meantime. I'll see you all in 5 days. Asuma said, as he gave half salute and shunshin away from the training ground. Now it was only the 3 young Genins that remained, wondering if they should enter the exams or not. But luckily, it was an easy decision for one of them. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely going to that exam. I bet it'll be fun, Naruto said with a soft smirk. You're crazy, Naruto-kun, if you think I'm not going with you, Ino said with her own smirk. Sigh, troublesome, well, if you guys are going, I guess I have to go too. Shikamaru with a tired sigh. Hell yeah! Team 10 is going to dominate that exam. Ino said proudly, as she pumps her fist in the air. Don't jinx us, Ino, Shikamaru said with a groan. Ha ha ha, it's going to okay, Shika. As long as the 3 of us are together, we can do anything. Naruto stated with a confident smile. Damn straight. Ino agreed. Sigh, I'll guess we'll see, Shikamaru said with some doubt in his voice, but eventually he was starting to believe in his blonde teammate's words. You guys want to get some lunch? 'Cause I'm starving, Naruto said, feeling his stomach was about to cry out. It's not going to be ramen again, is it? Shikamaru asked with a raised eyebrow. Naruto wanted to defend his precious ramen, but surprisingly someone else did it instead. What do you have against ramen, Shika? Ino asked with a defensive tone and narrowed eyes. Gasp, I made a believer. Praise the ramen gods. Naruto thought with glee. It's fine, Ino-chan. I'm actually craving for some barbecue. Let's go to Yakiniku-Q. My treat. Naruto said with a bright smile. He wanted to have their lunch at the same place where Team 10 started. Yay! Free food! Ino yelled out happily, as she wraps her arm around Naruto's, and leans her head on his shoulder. Geez, don't yell it out loud, Ino, Choji might have heard that, Shikamaru said with a smirk when he saw Naruto turn slightly pale, as he looked around cautiously, feeling that his chubby friend can sense the promise of free food. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this what if and want to see next part of it, comment down below and let me know. Also share this video with your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.